Heyo, log 7.0. Another week in the books, another week below the belt, another week behind me, another week done, another weekend. What to say about this week? This was actually an interesting week. I think the more I think about these weeks, the more interesting maybe I think they are. I think that's what's good about this too, is it gives me a chance to think about the week, right? Even while I'm within the week, I find myself thinking about, oh, something to think about or talk about, at the end of the week on this. So this has become a thing for me. I look forward to it, to be honest. More so earlier in the week than when it comes to the end of the week and all spent and it's time to do it, to be honest, which is a little bit unfortunate because I'm much more excited about what I want about doing this and have even thoughts about what I'm going to say throughout the week. Come the end of the week, I'm just like come into this, I don't know, blank, not knowing what I'm going to say as soon as I start. So I've said that hella times, but it is odd now that I think about it, because I think about things I want to talk about throughout the course of the week, and then when it comes to actually doing the talking, or even like before leading into this, I'm thinking, what the fuck was I thinking earlier this week that I was going to say, sort of thing. But I do think this is a good thing. I'm going to keep up with it. I have been keeping up with it 7 weeks straight. I'm not very good with keeping up with things, to be honest. Maybe it's a Gemini in me, I don't know, but um, developing like positive habits has never been a habit of mine. Something I work on, and this is one thing that's easy enough to do, or force myself to, um, and I can build off this. Starts with building. Starts with one good habit and another, then just build on all those good habits and pull back on those bad. Plenty of the bad habits, but not enough good ones. Um, like I need to start working out, man. I have like these little things over here. This little like I could even just show them. Could I reach over? I don't know. Fuck it, whatever. And like a jump rope. Don't even use a jump rope. I have an elliptical out here that I found on my birthday, no less, outside the front door of my apartment building. And the first thing I did was, oh shit, I was going to go get some cigarettes. I had to get like a package that my aunt had sent me was waiting for me down there too. And I walked outside and saw this elliptical. I was like, oh shit, it's a sign. If it works. Stepped on it. It absolutely works. Okay, go get a pack, come back, and bring that upstairs out onto my, what they call out here, a terrace balcony, big balcony, basically. Um, so I bring it up, lug it up, fucking heavy. I don't work out, It's maybe heavier for me than most. I don't know, but get it up here. It's awkward, also, not just like heavy. Get it up here, put it out there. Haven't used it once. The only time I've stepped on it was to see if it worked. And I haven't stepped on it once since I lugged it up here and put it out there. It's just sitting there. I'm looking right at it, waiting for me to just step on it. It's so easy to do. How many times do I go out to that terrace a day, dude? Damn. If I smoke 2 packs a day, 40 times a day. Well, that's not exactly true because I'll smoke like consecutively. So let's say like maybe I go out 20 times a fucking day. Not once do I step on the elliptical that I pass right by as soon as I step out this door, dude. It's a joke. So talking about habits, that's one that I need to work on, is working out. I haven't really worked out since high school, man. Seriously. Um, Anyways, that said, this is one that I'm working on and keeping up with. So I'll pat myself on the back, I guess. I don't know. Even though there's better habits to be working on that I'm not. Um, so this week, let's see, this week, another crazy week at work, all leading up to like Black Friday, basically, for a lot of these customers, or coming off of Singles Day for those that participated in that too. And it's just kind of crunch time for us, is we're rolling out like chat automation also, which is new for us. And first three customers, we had five all at once that wanted it. Fortunately, two fell off because they have like a code freeze, thank God. And these other three are just like, clamoring for it. And we're, scrambling to get it out and basically next week. Um, and chat's a unique beast because you can't really soft launch it, but whatever, no shop talk. So that said, this week was unique in a couple of things, I guess, outside of work, right? So the other day, let me just start with this because I even tweeted about it. If something I tweeted in the week, how rarely I tweet nowadays is worth like mentioning on this too. And the only place these things even get posted is on Twitter. And then occasionally to this one WhatsApp group with my ex FedExers, the Four Horsemen, ex FedExers plus one. And then shared a couple with my other friend after she asked me to. Shared one and then shared another because I actually referred to her, just as I'm referring to her here again. And she even asked me last night if I was going to do this again. I said, yeah, man, let's stick with it. So here I am, Friday night, or let's see, let's do the time check. So currently is right now 12:48 a.m. Saturday GMT, technically Friday night, right? And so earlier this week, three things that happened this week. I want to be sure to like bookmark or life note or footnote, or I don't know what the word is, but like call out. One of which, first one was this one morning I woke up having an intense dream about one of my exes, right? And I rarely dream, man. Like, I don't know that I do or don't dream, but I rarely remember my dreams, is what I mean. So I think probably over the course of the year, there may be like half a dozen times I wake up remembering a dream I had. Maybe a little more than half a dozen, but under a dozen. Like, it's a rare occasion. Like maybe once a month I'll wake up remembering a dream I just had. So I don't know what that is. I wish I dreamt more. Maybe I got to take like, what is it, mugwort? Mugroot? I think it's mugwort, which is supposed to like help you have like these lucid dreams. And that's like the ultimate drug, dude. A drug you can take, go to sleep, and be in a lucid dream world of your own where you can do, cognizant that you're in a dream and can control your dream yourself. I don't know. I mean, lucid dreams are the shit. I remember the first time I remember having a lucid dream. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, it was like discovery masturbation, man. Like, it was like the first time I came, I was like, whoa, wow, this exists. This is something crazy. But like I said, I rarely dream, right? And rarely lucid dream. I mean, rarely dream, even more rarely lucid dream, obviously. Um, but this morning I woke up dreaming like very intensely on my ex. I was like, whoa, that was crazy. Because not only did I remember the dream, which is unique for me, for one, but it was a really intense one. So I woke up like not shook, but like, whoa, And then like maybe like an hour or two later, not much later, but like an hour or two later, I was like, that was, I still was thought of it, I don't know if I was like still thinking about it, but I still like thought back, I was still thinking about it, still on my mind, man. I was like, what is today's date? To get this, man. It was the 4-year anniversary of her passing away. And I mentioned this in another one. I don't got to dig into this again because that was kind of crazy talking. I think the second one, or maybe second one I did of this about her. Yeah. 4-year anniversary of her passing away. And I still don't know how she passed away. I don't. I only found out that she passed away like 3 years after she passed away, man. I thought she had just kind of like cut me out of her life. Like, just wished her a happy birthday on her birthdays and stuff like that. And I remember one time, no response. One time, gave her a call, was like disconnected. I was like, oh, that's unusual. People rarely change their numbers, but she's the type of, if anyone were to change her numbers, she'd be the type too. And she was always like I mentioned before, she always would like block me anyways and don't like reach out to me. She controlled the reach out. So, whatever. And I thought maybe she found someone, moved on. I don't want to like insert myself into her life again, like unasked for sort of thing. So I just let it be and just wish her a happy birthday again, like the third year. This time it was text and the person texts back and said, this isn't her. I was like, oh, whoa, thanks for letting me know. And then like 6 months after that, it's like 3.5 years in, talking to my buddy and say, we were talking about her, and I was like, dude, I really got to try. I think, and I had said this to my mom like years before. I mean, even after like 2 years of not hearing from her, because she reach out pretty regularly, like maybe 3 to 6 months, she'd reach out or we'd hang out, even after breaking up. And even though instead of my mom, I think she may be dead. And then coming out of that call with my buddy, I looked up, her name, very common name, and especially in our area too. And then, but added obituary, added her birthday, and boom, found out she had passed away like 3.5 years ago. Found out she had passed away like 10 days after my big arrest, election day, 10 days after election day, 2016. Election day 2016 was November 8th. She passed away November 18th. This woke up November 18th, dreaming very intensely of her. And not to be like hippy dippy about it or anything, but that's like significant, right? A significant coincidence. I'm a big believer in serendipity. I've said this before, but but I still believe in coincidence. But this is a big coincidence and significant coincidence. I don't know what to make of it. I guess I'll have to try and make sense of it. Is just being honest about what happened. And then that day went by, and then later that day, like at the end of the day, I'm on Instagram doing that whole unwinding at like 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m., whatever it is, where I spend like an hour hopping between like Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube videos, not even news, nothing like that. Hardly even Reddit, to be honest. Not like I used to, at least. I used to Reddit a lot, but not as much some more anymore. And my good buddy from back home posts like an Insta story, and it's like of a I didn't know what it was exactly. It looked like maybe like a school or something, but apparently it was like a library. And in the library, what they had put up was like pieces of paper spelt out. Each paper was its own letter, spelt out like "We miss you." And I just immediately what's it called? DM'd him, Insta story, DM'd him, like "Miss you too, boo," And then he immediately calls me on WhatsApp. He knows to call me on WhatsApp. We've talked once before while I was out here. I mean, we've talked. He's a good friend, right? In fact, he was my first real work friend. Like I've had jobs where kind of made friends sort of at the job, but he was like the first real work friend. We started at the same gig, the same day. We had to start on a Tuesday because I had court on a Monday, right? This is way back in like 2011. So I had to push off. We had to push off my start date, which meant pushing off his start date. He ends up getting a little bit earlier than me. It was no surprise. He is actually more of an early bird than I am, but still on our first day and ever after, he got in earlier than me, to be honest. And there's a seat next to like my best friend. This guy I went to elementary school with, middle school with, like high school, college, lived together 3 of the 4 years together in college, and now we're like working together. And there's a seat like right next to him, for I mean, for me basically, right? But if my buddy gets there, well, we'll become a good buddy, best buddy, good friend, great friend, best friend, gets there before me, gets that seat next to my friend from like forever, basically. So, which actually worked out for the best. It's better that I didn't sit next to my good friend. He did. And then I sat on my own little island because the tables were like 4 quadrant. And then there's another 4. And I was just on my own, my back turned to them. And no one at this table, no one at the other 3 tables until others got hired and got in. And I was basically on my own Bora Island, right? Bora Island. And then the other 3 that joined, it was just a riot, right? With those 3 joined. I was having way too much fun. I wasn't closing shit. This is my first sales job, my first like white collar, I like a white collar internship, but like first like real job. However real you want to call it, wasn't like too serious, but it was a foot in the door in the beginning of my career, to be honest. And I think I was there like 2 months, didn't close a single thing. All we were selling was like online deals, like like Groupon type things, but they had more control of it. It wasn't like a single day that it ran. You didn't get like blown up because it just was one deal a day. It was like you control like how you when it when it's up and stuff. And there was like algorithms behind how it got distributed via emails. So it was supposed to be like a more sustainable sort of thing. It wasn't a bad business model. Actually ended up being profitable, which was rare in that market. But anyways, um, didn't work out. It was the only company I worked at that closed shop, but we all walked away with our computers, our monitors, our keyboards, and 3 months severance. So it worked out for all of us and into a better job market than we came into. Because when we all started there, it was like, sure, maybe like the tail end of the recession, but still the fucking recession, man. We're all like recent college grads. I mean, it was a job I think none of us would have been working if it was like 2 years later, right? It was just there was no jobs to be had, man. Like even Trader Joe's wouldn't even take my resume. There, I was trying to job for like I was trying to apply to like be a host at places because I know waiting experience. So let me just like be a host. Even they wouldn't take my resume. There's no fucking jobs to be had. But this place hired a bunch of local kids, recent college grads from the area that and they lucked out. They got great talent on the cheap, you know. Um, and anywho, this guy is like a great friend of mine. I think there's something to be said about work friends, man. Like a good work friend. Oh my God. Like they know you in a way that like your other friends won't, or can't. Working with somebody, is significant. Seeing how somebody works, seeing how somebody is at work, seeing somebody every damn day. I mean, you see everybody every damn day when you're growing up, like K through 12, and then maybe a little bit in college, there'll be those maybe you see every day, but you see less and less people every day, right? But then when we're to the workforce, there's those that you go back to seeing every day. But you're not just seeing them every day, you're seeing like how they work. It's a little different in like a academic environment because I really don't care how you work, right? I don't care if you do your homework. I don't care if how well you do on tests. I don't care if you study. I don't care if you know anything, right? But when it comes to work, there's like a competence factor too that comes into play, and like reliability, dependability, like honest integrity, like uh, even how savvy you are, like not losing your temper. I don't really, I have to control my temper a little bit. I get, it gets comes through in my voice at least. Um, but yeah, just there's so much to be said about working with someone. And that's its own log on its own sometime maybe. But anyways, this is about friends, I guess. So he called me and he's going through a tough time, man. His mom's on her deathbed. Basically, they released her from the hospital and back to the house to basically live out the remainder of her life, which, from the sounds of it, is not going to be much longer. But at least she can end it in comfort of her home with her family, as opposed to in the hospital. But we're talking like organ failure, but we're also not talking like life support at home, just like ventilator, I think, or something like that. And he was kind of cracking up, but rightfully so. It'd be kind of odd, I guess, if he didn't. But it was genuine that he did. I mean, obviously, I was genuinely going through it. And it was interesting because we were going in and out of very serious and him cracking up to like very different subject and laughing. And then it was like this, but it was beautiful, man, or it felt beautiful, but it was tragic too, in that like beautiful, tragic type of way. But it was so good to speak with him, and it has been a while since we spoke. And last time we spoke while I was out here, he said we got to keep in touch type of thing. And he was apologizing up front about not keeping in touch. I was like, bro, it's not even like that. You know that, right? And then I realized, and then he's like, yeah, I've been going through all this. Like, bro, like there's nothing to apologize about, but damn, you're going through all this. I feel bad. It's my bad that I didn't reach out because he did tell me she wasn't doing well even when we talked last. And then I didn't check in. Like I'm really sort of bad like that, man. I'm not good at keeping in touch with people, but like when people call, like we pick back up. But still, this is where that kind of uh, logic breaks down. I've always said like, oh, it doesn't matter. We just pick up where we left off when I speak with them again. But when I know that one of my best friend's moms isn't doing well and I don't like check in, that's where it's like selfish. That's where it's sort of that's where it feels not right. Right? I should have. But it was so good to speak with him. And he was a big fan of that ex also. And then I told him, about this thing, dream I had, and like he didn't know that she had passed away either. I mean, at this point, passed away long ago, right? But like, he was a big fan of hers. He always was. He was one of the few that like was really always in her camp because she was just crazy. She was crazy. I'm crazy. We drove each other crazy. It was crazy. It was all like fighting and fucking sort of relationship, right? But we had a connection, and everyone I think understood that much, even if they thought we weren't good for one another, um, which a lot will say, and even if they thought she was crazy or psycho, even they could see we had a connection, and nobody really spoke up against her while I was with her. But after we broke up, all sorts of people came out of the woodwork to say they never thought she was like we were. I wouldn't say they say she wasn't good for me. We weren't good for one another, right? We're both too crazy in the same way, sort of thing. Um, but they all honored the connection, and there definitely was a connection there. And then uh, the next day, this other buddy. Also, oh, by the way, that day I did speak to those co-founders. It was good. They were great. They were sharp. It was great to speak with them. I don't know what they thought about me and what I had to say or how I was. But it was great to speak with them. They're on something. I'm interested to see if they get back to me and if I can. I'm a part of a small company. So when they asked how big is my team, I even lied. I said, we're a team of three. We're a team of two. I don't know why I lied by one, but I did. We should be three. We should be three. By the in no time we will be three. I'm pushing for it. I'll get it. But I don't know why I lied and said we're a team of two. Customer success team of three, I said. Um, but hope they appreciate my insights. I felt like I laid it out, and we'll see where that goes. Not much more to say about that though. So then let's see. The next day, I'm talking to my other buddy who's like interviewing for a customer success job, and he's been a good friend for a long time, man. Like I remember in high school, I he joined the water polo team for like a week, just a week or two, maybe two, maybe a little bit longer. Maybe I'm selling him short, but like not long, under a month. And I remember he came out in like a speedo, but just one speedo. I was like, "Mom, bro, you gotta wear two. You gotta wear two speedos. That shit's gonna get torn off you." So I gave him my speedos, and that was basically our first interaction. He had like dated like my girlfriend in like middle school or something, but like middle school sort of dated, like whatever, like it doesn't mean anything. So I knew of him too. I knew of him as well. He was like a known guy sort of thing. Yeah, you're younger. Gave him my speedo. And that was like our first interaction. I don't think I interacted with him again until like I was in college and I was back at home for like a weekend or something. Forget why. Probably so my dad could help me with like statistics homework maybe or something. But my dad wasn't even in the area at that time. I feel like. I don't know why I was back for a weekend, but I was. And he saw on Facebook that he was going to some like rave in SF, and I hit him up. I said, I don't know, out of the blue, we never hung out outside of school. We never even hung out at school. And I said, hey, let me go with you, sort of thing. I said, okay. So we go with him, and I was manic. And we get to this rave, cool rave, one of the coolest like warehouse raves I've ever been to. It was like one of the first, and at the same time one of the coolest. And I don't think I'm just remembering it favorably. It just was legitimately pretty cool. It wasn't like a proper club. It was like literally just a warehouse sort of thing. Um, and crazy night, right? Like I almost get in a fight and blah blah blah, but I'm all love. I'm not even rolling. I'm just like I'm rolling naturally. And then at the end of the night, I think the people I almost got in a fight with like smashed his windows, but not just his windows, like all the windows on that street, right? And also that day I found like a 22 jersey, and I'm born on the 22nd. I just like found I was taking a piss just like over on the street by the cars outside of the warehouse or whatever, and find this, just see something in the corner, my white with red lettering, red letter 22. And I put it on and then I had to come back to these guys' football jersey, came out of nowhere for me. And before that, I was wearing a bright turquoise shirt with like just like a art with just like a rectangle piece of art that I got from like my aunt or something. Just something very like bright, and then found this like football jersey and almost get in a fight, then go take a piss, and then find this football jersey and come back and just kind of almost popped off, right? I mean, they did hit me, but I've been hit hella times. And I've just been fortunate. I've been hit hella times. I've just been fortunate. I've never been knocked out. I like to think I have an iron jaw, but I don't know. Maybe I just haven't been hit hard enough by people. I don't know, or the right angle or something. But some people have the jaw, some people don't, and they also say that once you've been knocked out, you're more liable to get knocked out. It's almost like like seizure sort of thing. But yeah, I've been fortunate. I've never been knocked out, even though times I've been hit. And um, because I go to a lot of Asian clubs too, and so sometimes I'm the only white guy there, and I'm a loud guy too. I'm loud and easy target and stubborn too. And I don't think I start the fights, but I definitely don't back down from them, sort of thing. And just like one thing leads to another. But that was neither here nor there. But anyways, and then there's so many ways I could take this story. I could go on and on about this time. Well, at this point, what was that? That would have been 10 years ago. Because it led to right out of that, I went to the hospital, came back that night. My mom took me to the hospital. It was like the shortest stint I'd ever been on that like 5250 sort of thing. And then I went back to school. And I think that week I met what would become the girlfriend before the girlfriend I was just talking about, um, who coincidentally had a 22 tat on her wrist. And the first thing I ever said to her was, "Why the 22 tat?" Because it meant something to me. And she's, "Oh, it's like it means something to me. It's like auspicious sort of thing." And that was the first time I ever talked to her. And while I was talking to her, I was sitting next to the another ex. Wasn't the ex before her, but it was another ex. I was sitting next to another ex, talking to her first. And yeah. So on the topic of girlfriends, right? Because I was having that conversation with my girlfriend, my friend, the other night, right? She was going through her exes. I was going through my exes. Obviously, it was because I brought up, like, I woke up dreaming about this one ex, right? We were just going through our exes. Maybe it started with her talking back about one of her exes, but I don't know. It doesn't matter. But um, so long distance is really what I want to say. So I had a conversation with what I was saying is this guy that I was talking to about customer success role that he was like interviewing for. And we talked a little bit like earlier in the week or the week before, I forget, a week before, I think. And then now he was, called back to tell me like how it went. And we talked and we ended up talking for like, I could tell you, it felt like an hour and a half at least. Right. But what's interesting, I've never talked to him on the phone like that before. All the years we've been really good friends. I consider him one of my best friends. We never talked on the phone like that. And I'm sure everyone can like relate to those type of friends. Like, they're great friends, you love them, but you've never really talked on the phone with. And maybe a lot of people have friends, most of their friends have never really talked on the phone with, right? Especially for like an hour and a half, 2 hours or whatever it was. So it was great. I love talking on the phone. I really don't like zooming. And I was saying that to one of my customers today. And I was like, oh, maybe because Zoom is like very business oriented. But even with friends, I don't like zooming. But I really like talking on the phone. And I think I thought about it just like before this, why the difference. I don't like I think there's something liberating about the non-visual aspect of the being behind the phone. Much like AIM back in the day, like you don't see the person. There's something to be said about that, I think. Um, and also maybe like I like to pace, so I can really pace on the phone and talk and like get very, really get into it. Whereas with Zoom, it's not the same. I don't know. I love talking on the phone, but not so much Zoom. Really, not so much Zoom. Um, and then so yeah, there's something to be said about those like conversations, and like long distance relationships force those conversations. So going back to like girlfriends and stuff, I think one thing I think that is really critical is being able to have a long distance relationship. A lot of people will break up with somebody just because the relationship became long distance. Almost automatically they'll end it because it's long distance. They're not trying to try for it. But I think they're missing out on something there. I think there's a lot to be gained from doing long distance. Because when you do long distance, the whole relationship revolves around conversation, communication, which is key, and your whole relationship is around, what do you do today? What happened? You hear them out, they hear you out, like you talk about your day and talk about things and you talk. Um, Whereas if you're like dating somebody and you see them every day, you kind of just like, you can kind of just, go through the day together, right? Let's go grab something to eat. Let's go watch a movie. Let's go back home. Let's watch some Netflix. You fuck, you eat, you watch TV, you watch movies, you hang in the park. You can kind of people watch. You can kind of just like sit by side and watch the world together, right? And do things together. Whereas when you're long distance, all you have is like talking to one another, like very directly. Is It's different. I think it leads to like a type of depth that you lack, that you can like, that you're not forced to develop when you have a type of relationship where you see them every day. And so many of my relationships have been long distance. I've never really like some level of long distance. Like, you know, the last one I was in San Francisco, they were in San Jose. But one before that, I was in San Francisco, they were in San Jose. One before that, I was in San Jose, they were in Irvine. We overlapped a little bit together in Irvine. One before that, she was in Santa Barbara, I was in Irvine. One before that, oh no, sorry. One before that, I was in Irvine, she was in San Diego. One before that, I was in Irvine, she was in Santa Barbara. We overlapped a little bit the senior summer. One before that, we were high schoolers. We didn't even have a car. Like I had a car at the tail end, right? But like, we were trying to find ways to sneak out and meet up. We didn't have, we were meeting up in parks. I was taking my dad's car, like illegally without a license to go meet up with her, sort of thing. Getting caught by cops, things like this, So that felt like long distance, even though the distance wasn't really very long, right? But that did too. And as a high school, it's all around like the late night phone calls too. And I think there's something to be said about it. And I'm saying something about it coming off of not even relationships, not even like, boyfriend, girlfriend type. I'm just talking about even just with friendships. But I talked to 2 hours about customer success and all sorts of other things, right? Other buddy that I talked to about, his mom, going through this and many other things too. Like, I wish I could have recorded that call just for my own personal look back on, because it was beautiful in the way that we went from him on the verge of tears to him laughing, talking about a very different topic, to talking about a memory, to making a joke, to going back, to going deep, heavy, and just it was so interesting, man. Um, and um, and then there's always like, my good friend that I talk to just about every week, I feel like. We talk for a good amount of time too each time. And and then there's me talking to myself here each week now for 7 weeks straight. So I guess I do enough talking, especially not to mention all the fucking talking customers I do every damn day on these Zoom things. But what I want to say about like long distance and relationships. So there's three things I feel like, and there may be a fourth to it too, but like three things I feel like I would definitely need to do with a girl before I pop the question. So I've said this many a time before, and I don't like self plagiarizing myself, perhaps, because it's not unique what I'm saying now. I'm just repeating myself in a new medium. But for this record, I'll repeat myself because I still stand by this all these years later. Um, and one of which is long distance. I really believe before I could pop the question with a girl, I need to do long distance with her. Why? Because I think there's a lot to be gained from doing long distance. A, B, I need to be able to trust her long distance. I don't want it to be type of relationship where I'm like out of sight, out of mind. I want it to be like type of relationship where absence makes the heart grow fonder on both sides of the fence. And it takes doing a little bit of long distance to see which way it crumbles, which way the cookie crumbles, right? Is it out of sight, out of mind for one or the other or both? Or is it, absence makes the heart grow fonder for hopefully both? It makes the relationship stronger, right? And the whole like romantic aspect of like, like, oh, I've got a girl back home, like imagining yourself being like a soldier sent to war wherever you are, right? And you've got that girl back home that you may not be writing like, you know, love notes to send via snail mail back to her, but you're, sending texts or, messages. And I guess nowadays it's DMs, but whatever, WhatsApp or whatever, like you're just, have that girl back home sort of thing, and that you trust, loves you, and is waiting there for you. And hopefully she trusts you too. That's a big piece too, that you're not have the type of girl that's going to freak out because, she can't really know what you're doing every day, right? You just gotta trust, and vice versa. And can you trust? It takes long distance to know really, do you really in your heart of hearts do you trust this girl? Because if you don't, it'll creep in badly, I'm sure. Not that I've ever not trusted, I feel like, but or not been trusted, fortunately, too. So that's one. The other one, number two, is I don't know if I don't the order doesn't matter, but the other one that's significant for me also, I need to see before I could pop the question, is how they are with kids. Um, and I really think this one fucked my parents, right? That's why it matters so much to me, because I think my parents probably loved one another, initially when they first got married or in early days, and they were married for 5 years before they had me. I'm sure there was a lot of love there, but I never really saw it or remember seeing it when I was a kid between them, to be honest. But I think one thing that really drove a wedge between them was they fundamentally disagreed about how to raise me or my brother, us, their kids. And I think that can catch out a lot of people, a lot of relationships, as you may love one another, but then when kids come into the equation, you may like just fundamentally disagree with one another on how to raise your child. And your child is your child, it's their child, it's both of your child, but it's the two of you rolled up into them. And if you don't see eye to eye about how to raise them, whew, good luck, you know? Um, and my parents are both very different people, A, very different cultures, B, and neither of them were American, and that's me and my brother. So we're not just talking like generational tension, but also like total cultural tension too. And then personalities as well. We're all headstrong as fuck. So maybe even exacerbated it even to a greater degree. Um, and then I remember I used to volunteer at like the family shelter where like tutor slash mentor kids. Mentor sound really was on mentoring. Mentoring maybe by example, but really just tutoring the kids for an hour and then you play with them for an hour. And I would do that. I did that with like two different exes. And it was interesting to see how they were with the kids. And to be honest, like one was better than the other with them. And I was surprised at which one I thought was better than the other, to a degree. Maybe not like really surprised, but like I think I was more surprised by how differently it made me feel about them, is what really surprised me. And I didn't think either were particularly good with the kids, right? So it's not like they passed with flying colors, that's for sure. But like, not that it was a test either, but some things aren't meant to be a test that turn out to be a test, right? Like, but, or not that turn out to be, a thing. Um, and that's something. And I think that's where it really crystallized for me. I think even before maybe working with the kids, maybe I thought this, or maybe it was right around this time that I realized this, or whatever it was very like, it's the realization, right? And then the other one that would need to do before popping the question is travel the world, not travel the world, but go travel somewhere with them that I've never been before and that they've never been before. Travel to a strange land together, basically. So not somewhere where they've been before and I'm look to them like you tell me where we should go, what we should do, what should we see, this, that, whatever, right? And they're not looking to me to like guide them either. Like we both as lost as one another, right? Here together, just got to figure it out, right? And I really believe you go do something like that together. There's no coming back the same way you were going into it. You're either coming back stronger or weaker for it, right? And that's something I think I really need to do too. Now, all that said, there's not even like the first thing I need to do is even meet somebody, but once I meet somebody, I could maybe expedite the whole, the whole path to marriage by the 1, 2, 3. The other one, which I said was maybe a fourth, is not even real a fourth because it's almost inevitable, but I would really need to fight with a girl, like a real fight. There was one girl I never feel like we ever really fought, but I also don't think she really loved me. So no, maybe that's why, right? All the other ones I know did, right? Um, and but we never fought. And I don't know that I can trust someone until we really fucking fought, like really fucking fought, and see how they fight, how low they go. Um, and some like, oh, I remember let's use a crazy one as an example, right? Like New Year's night, San Francisco, she's pissed off about something. I think she twisted her ankle or something. Um, and uh, and maybe it was my fault. We got out of a limo or something, and I don't know, maybe it was my fault. Well, I don't think it was, but whatever, right? I don't remember, but she was a pissed, right, about the whole thing. We're walking sense, and she just lost it, like went psycho mode, like yelling at me, like leave me alone, or like screaming rape, right? I'm not even touching her, right? And like, oh, we're talking about thousands of people in San Francisco on New Year's night, bro. New Year's Eve night, man. There's fireworks going off. Everyone's on the fucking streets. It's fucking packed. You know, I remember I got a hotel room for us on Fisherman's Wharf, like a real tourist, right? The Radisson on Fisherman's Wharf on New Year's Eve night, because everything was mega expensive, man, in San Francisco, you know, um, and and she was fucking furious, like, and guys were trying to get between me and her. Guys were like coming at me, like, "What the fuck, bro?" You know, like, "Leave her alone." I'm like, dude, you don't understand. Leave me alone. I'm not like coming at, you know, like, dude. Was she? I'm gonna let her walk away with a limp in San Francisco and not chase after her, and she's just yelling at me to not chase after her. Of course, I'm not gonna stop following her, you know? And she's just yelling at me to not follow her. You know, that was the extent of it. And other guys getting and trying to get in between, you know, but no, everybody stepped off once I fucking like said something like, dude, they heard it in my voice, you know, like, bro, I'm not like that. Just get the fuck. I didn't even say I'm not like that. I just said, this doesn't concern you, man. I'm not. Ugh. But even that, so that's an example of somebody going very low. But her and me, we made it work still. You know, it was always, we always made back up like real quick. It was like real crazy swings. But I still need to see how somebody fights, because there was other girl that when she fought just shut down, and I couldn't take that. I don't like that, man. The shut down, bottled up, like resentment is building against me, and I feel it, and I can't. And walls are coming up around her between us, and she's just like getting more closed in, but also more and more like venomously upset with, like, angry at, hateful, resentful against me, like no real blow up, no real release. It's just this is kind of scary, actually. I don't like it. I'd rather somebody blow up at me. I'd rather deal with somebody gets in my fucking face than somebody gets under my skin, for real. I can't deal. Dude, the best way to, like, my Achilles heel is people getting under my skin. It doesn't bother me when people blow up at me. I come from a household, I come from a family, I come from a background of, we communicate via argument, man. Every fucking communication in my family was like basically arguing. That I come from an arguing family, and some people don't. I remember some exes would even say we always argue. And I'd be like, what do you mean? Didn't even really register with me, right? And some I didn't realize until like later, like some people it really affected them, because it didn't affect me. Like, just like water off a duck's back. We argue. Yeah, that's how I grew up, right? We all argue and we get over it. Nobody even says sorry. There's no apologies. It's just you argue, 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 and then you stop arguing. That's it. That's how it goes, you know? It's not like any amends were made. It's not like any, you know, compromise was reached. It's not like any, you know, resolution was established. It just argument ends, you know, at some point. Eventually it ends, and then you move on, and like water off a duck's back for me, basically. But some people don't come from a background of argumentative family. And one girl explained this to me once. Actually, I can't take credit for this realization. Actually, this one girl I met in San Francisco, she probably knows but who she is, if anyone even ever listens to this. But we were in San Francisco, and she was saying about, she was talking about some guy, I guess she was seeing, and how he came from an argumentative family and she didn't, and how different it was. Um, and how it created almost like a disconnect, you know, kind of thing, and just like a cultural disconnect basically between the two of them. Just kind of the, she explained it quite explicitly as like he came from an argumentative or arguing family and I don't, sort of thing. And I realized it was just like a moment. I was like, whew, that's me. And that's a lot of my exes did not come from arguing families. So when they all said we always argue and, you know, complain about us always arguing, yeah, I didn't even register that we really argue, because also because the way I talk is very argumentative too, right? It comes off that way, I feel like, or at least more so maybe when I was younger too. Very like debatey type talker, right? And I love to debate. Like, let's be real. I won't, you know, I'll do it. It is part of my DNA. Yeah, I thought I was gonna be a lawyer my whole life, you know? And then so there's that doesn't even register on my kind of barometer and does a lot more on theirs. And second of all, it doesn't affect me and it affects them. And that's something I've kind of become more cognizant of since. Um, and then, yeah, so gotta really argue, really got to get into a real fucking fight before I can trust somebody seriously. Oh, that's not true of like anybody, but yeah, with a relationship, I can't ask somebody to marry you if we've never fought. We've never fucking fought. Oh no, that's sus. Like, um, and it's the girls I dated were very stubborn too, or yeah, I don't know if they were especially like debatey like me, but very stubborn, headstrong too. Like, these were good girls. These were quality girls that weren't about to like, they weren't submissive, they weren't gonna step down. Um, um, which is good. That's what I wanted. That's what I want somebody to go toe to toe with me that I respect, right? How can I love somebody I don't respect, right? Like, how can I respect someone if I can just, bulldoze over them, walk all over them if they don't put up a fight? Um, because I'm not always right. Maybe when I was younger, I thought so, and now I know I'm not. I used to think, get this, I used to think it was okay. Okay, this is gonna make me sound fucking horrible, but whatever. I used to think it was okay to shake a bitch. I used to think it was okay to literally take a call, like, dude, like, you're driving me crazy. I agree, it's not good to hit a girl. You can't hit a girl. You can't like, of course you can't hit a girl, but I thought there was a loophole. I thought, but you can like shake a girl, right? I would even say this to people, but you can shake a bitch. So yeah, to the point that I'm not always right. Uh, yeah, you live and you learn and you grow up and you mature and you get better, and at least that's the idea, right? Acknowledge your mistakes. Not that I was shaking bitches left and right? But I thought it was okay to. I thought I was in my back. This in my right, back pocket. Is in my right as a man. Yeah, I can, you know, shake my girlfriend if she just needs to be shaken to sense. It's like that fucking Sean Connery. Dude, if anyone's seen the Sean Connery interview, oh, he like recently passed away, like a week or two ago, right? Like 2, 3 weeks ago, he passed away. And crazy fucking interview where he's talking to what's her name, Barbara Walters, and he's saying sometimes it's okay just to hit a woman, right? That was basically me, but shake a bitch, not hit a woman. I wasn't saying it's okay to hit a woman, but that interview was fucking like hilarious. I mean, if you haven't seen it, like turn me off and go check that out, right? Um, um, fucking Sean Connery, dude. Talk about like a man's man type of man, right? I don't know if he was a good man. That's not what a man's man necessarily is, but just like a like alpha type. Um, Anywho, is there anything more I really want to say today? I think I'm good. I think that's it. Dude, I wouldn't be surprised that was 45 minutes again. I'm really interested. I think I have some kind of inner cadence. This is crazy, but we'll see. Maybe I'm way off. But that said, much love. Be happy. Do good. Love out.